whether or not you're changing your job is changing. In fact, we're seeing that by 2030, 70% of the skills required to do your job will change. You have to start building both the hard skills and the soft skills to be able to be fluid with that transition. The hard skills are really about AI fluency, but on the soft skills, it's more like the AI agency, that resourcefulness. Ultimately, people come to LinkedIn to have authentic conversations with real people. It's that sharing and giving ability. And then you can use it for hiring, for job seeking, for partnering, for learning, for selling. So whatever need or intent you have, you're able to do this on LinkedIn. When you think about what's happening right now, we're entering this era where change is happening faster than we're able to respond to it. And that basically kind of forces a new best practice to be evolving, or it forces us to go back to the drawing board in how we build. And now if you're a builder, I think there's this incredible time where it really becomes about meritocracy, right? If you're a builder and you have a great idea, the ability to take it to market is just unbelievable.
All right. Today we have Tomer Cohen, the Chief Product Officer at LinkedIn with us. I'm super excited for this. If folks who know me might know that I'm super active on LinkedIn as well. So this is one that I really prepared for and I'm really looking forward to. Tomer, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So let's dive right in. You've overseen LinkedIn's transformation from sort of like a desktop first to a mobile platform now. The social product's really grown over the last few years. There's also obviously LinkedIn isn't just a social platform, it does a bunch of other things. What's sort of, been your personal vision that's guided this product journey? And how has your definition for the product success evolved over that time?
Actually, I became a LinkedIn fan long before I joined the company. I came to the Valley in 2008, and I had an opportunity to go to see a lecture at the Stanford Engineering School. It was about social networks. It was just getting started back then in kind of full scale. And there was Zuckerberg on stage talking about Facebook, and there was also Reid Hoffman talking about LinkedIn. I think the vast majority of folks were coming to see Zuckerberg, but I was one of the few that were really kind of immersed in Reid's vision about the power of professional communities when you bring them together online. And Reid's kind of philosophy was, for anything you're trying to do professionally, there's somebody there who can help you. And so if you can make those connections, you can actually accelerate whatever you're trying to do. And, when I heard it, it kind of really meant a lot to me in terms of the power of economic opportunity. I didn't join LinkedIn back then. I started a company of my own. But, several years later, I had the opportunity to come in to lead the mobile products. And I had a personal vision of making LinkedIn your superpower. So really being able to expose what LinkedIn can do for you and really make that kind of reality of economic opportunity come to life. At the core of LinkedIn, it's truly a professional community of people who come together to everything from share ideas, collaborate, grow. For anything you're trying to do, somebody on LinkedIn can help. So if you're trying to hire somebody who's potentially looking for a job, or they might be interested in a job, for expertise you want to share, there's somebody there who would love to learn what you're offering. So it's really that kind of marketplace approach. When it comes to the definition of success, I think it's in its essence, it hasn't really changed. It's really about, are people finding economic opportunities on LinkedIn? We actually look very closely at people like changing jobs and finding jobs on LinkedIn, growing their audience, being able to get referrals for their businesses and so on. I think the way it has changed over the years is the way we measure. And I think we've gotten better and better at looking at more bottom funnel, more actual outcomes versus kind of high level outcomes, and just being able to do a better job at understanding the value and the quality of the results.
Okay, before we move on, a quick message from our friends and partners at Vanta. The right kind of security can make a deal or break it. Vanta's AI and technology make it easy for fast-moving startups to get ready to meet buyer expectations in just a few days. Vanta's technology continuously monitors your compliance so your deals are never blocked. And our listeners get a special $1,000 discount when they sign up. Just go to vanta.com/superhuman. That's VANTA.com/superhuman. Yeah, great. So want to switch it right over to AI, since that's what everyone's tuning in for. AI obviously seems like it's a big part of LinkedIn's product strategy, seeing it come across a lot of different features now. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what are the core AI features that are being rolled out right now that they should try?
At the foundation of LinkedIn, making sure you have a great profile, you are connected to the people you know, so you build your network of folks you know, and then you engage with others, whether it's contribution through the feed or following, transacting, consuming. Those just make your experience better because AI is able to serve you better. When it comes to some of the recent things we've done, it really depends on what you're trying to do. So, you told me about the amazing reach you're both getting on LinkedIn. That's remarkable. So for us, if you have expertise to share, like you both have, being able to establish your brand, we're investing out in analytics for you, so you'll actually be able to see how you're doing, whether it's video, conversations through commenting, and so on. If you're on the market for a new job, or recently launched our semantic job search, being able to move away from talking in keywords to really just describing your aspirations. I think we've learned over the years, we've learned to talk in keywords, but really at the end of the day, when you pitch people, they'll tell you just what they want and they don't want filters. They just want a specific thing that matches their dream job. And what's cool about that is when you give more of the context of what you want, we're actually able to give you more jobs because the keywords match to very specific kind of the the head of the results. But when you're providing more nuance, there's more long tail I can actually provide you with, which you didn't even think about. So that's something I is doing really, really well right now. Being able to help write your resume, cover letter, everything that has to do with you being able to do it well. We are right now launching interview prep as well for
Nice.
job seekers. So kind of taking the journey of A to Z for you to find that next opportunity. If you're on the platform and you want to learn from great people, being able to find amazing voices, whether it's on AI, if it's on media, if it's on leadership, if it's on agriculture, whatever it is that is interesting to you. We also launched several months ago the AI Learning Coach. So you can basically go either train yourself on soft skills, but also you can go deep on a specific course. Could be an AI course, could be a marketing course, and you can basically go deep with a conversation with AI about that specific topic. And then we have a lot of enterprise tools that we basically offer from hiring to marketing and selling. And there we build some incredible agents to just help you do your job much, much better.
That's interesting. Are you able to share which AI features are getting the most engagement from the community right now?
Yeah, so it really depends on what you're trying to do. But let's on the member side, what people would call consumer side. When we look at the part like the job search we launched with semantic job search, where AI basically is leading, that's getting tremendous traction, and 90% of people who actually use it find it very useful. So this is where instead of writing, marketing, biotech, Seattle, I would write, I want to use my marketing skills to help cure cancer
Yep.
next to my home kind of thing. And then, or I want to be able to leverage my creativity and my affinity to math in a job that helps me do this both together. And we'll kind of come up with some awesome results. So people really love that interaction model. We found that when we give you writing tools in the context of where you need them the most, people really love those. So 40% of our premium members use their profile summary. This is where on top of your summary, on top of your profile, there's like a card that you can write whatever you want. And, for the vast majority of people, that blank card is scary.
Yeah.
So being able to summarize your profile into kind of a great paragraph, AI is amazing at that. And people really enjoy that one. And then on the enterprise side, we're seeing some pretty remarkable results. So we built everything from a recruiter companion to helping hiring managers have their own recruiter agent. On the marketing side, having your own kind of advertiser agent. On the learner side, as we discussed. So those are seeing some great traction as well.
Amazing. And just a quick follow-up question on that, right? Like you talked about a lot of great features. You talked about the enterprise stuff. Even on my team, LinkedIn means different things to different people. So, for example, for me, I'm a creator. It kind of, the social feed is where I sort of, live and breathe. For the marketer on my team, it's about, running ads on the ad platform. For my sales team, it's about using LinkedIn Navigator and doing all sort of like, all those sort of things. For a bunch of people on my team, one day is going to be some place that they're going to go look for a job. Other kind of, social-ish platforms like, Instagram and so on, and or Twitter, for example, or X, it's very clear that they're like social only. LinkedIn seems to have so many big, almost like separate products, it feels like. What do you feel like is the vision for the product, or what do you feel like is the unifying theme for LinkedIn?
It's such a great point. I usually try to make this point because it's not only different people with different intents or needs. Sometimes it's the same person. So right, I might come up in the morning and I just want to see what's happening, kind of stay informed what's happening in my industry or the people I follow. And then in the afternoon, I'm about to meet somebody and I want to check out their profile and their background and see who we have in common. And then later in the day, I kind of had a rough day, didn't go so well. So I kind of want to see what's happening out there in the job market. And it's the same person, same day, three different intents, and one app. So the idea is to serve all those use cases for one app. So you're raising a fantastic point, which, by the way, is quite complex for us to solve. It's something we spend a lot of time on. How do we actually deliver simplicity when there's so many needs you can have from LinkedIn? I think at the core of it, LinkedIn exists to help create economic opportunity for every member of the global workforce. This is our vision statement. That's how, that's our purpose. It's kind of the Kool-Aid that we all kind of drink here. The way we think about doing it is by connecting people to make them more productive and successful. This is where we talk about the notion of a marketplace, right? If I'm looking for a co-founder for my startup, somebody out there is potentially thinking about an opportunity to join something. So how do I get matched with that person? If I have great expertise in something, or I'm looking to learn, and it could be a niche of 50 people who are like on a specific topic, but I'm looking to learn from people who've done this or worked on this or had some experience with this. It's really a marketplace of knowledge. So you really kind of connect the dots there. So at the core of it, LinkedIn is really that professional community of professionals coming together, and it's that sharing and giving ability. And then you can use it for hiring, for job seeking, for partnering, for learning, for selling. And we try really to build the mechanisms that really help you do those really well across. So whatever need or intent you have, you're able to do this on LinkedIn.
So Tomer, love this perspective of that economic opportunity universally for everyone. I think that's such a amazing kind of mission and vision as well. It's kind of by double clicking there, right? Like LinkedIn, I think, has the broadest and deepest data on job market, to be honest, like in today's world. And we're obviously seeing this AI wave happening, and their comments and their perspective, like, hey, how the knowledge workforce will change, what new skills employers are looking for, what employees should develop. So from your perspective and looking at this amazing data set and interaction of economic opportunity you see globally, what are you seeing? Like, what are your perspectives on this?
Yeah, when you zoom out on kind of it's called the job market, the employment market right now, or just career, you're kind of seeing transformation at literally all levels, from people to leaders to companies to the economy. We had a study recently, and the belief is that the economy will grow by at least $6 trillion in the next few years, and then in the U.S. alone by $4 trillion. And this is really because of productivity gains across. But I think that's the promise, right? That's the potential. And now it's how do we actually make this happen? So I think if you're a leader right now in a company, you're continuously thinking, how do I build better, more innovative services and products to bring out to the market? At the same time, how do I make my own process much better, right? How do I basically get a lot more than I've even thought about before? And everybody knows it's not about just tweaking and incrementally changing. It's rethinking how you've been worked for a long time. On the professional side, we say a lot, and I strongly believe in this, that whether or not you're changing your job is changing. In fact, we're seeing that by 2030, 70% of the skills required to do your job will change. So you're really in this transition where you have to start building both the hard skills and the soft skills to be able to be fluid with that transition. And the hard skills are really about AI fluency, ability to work with AI really well. But on the soft skills, it's more like the AI agency, that resourcefulness. Sometimes you see early in career talent coming to the workforce, and that's all they know, right? They just know how to use Cursor and V0, and that's their tools. Versus somebody who's been kind of working on a specific tool for a long time and haven't adapted that new way of building, as just an example. And then there's basically that kind of AI fluency of using those tools, interacting with them. On the soft skills, I think we'll see a lot more emphasis there, like your ability to come up with communication skills, leadership, alignment, creativity, we'll get, there's going to be a big kind of emphasis on those as you come to the marketplace. And I think we're going to see both happening at the same time. But on both sides right now, there's kind of this evolution of like, we all know this is going to change dramatically. It's already changing materially, but how do we kind of stay ahead of the group?
And you guys are obviously investing in the AI career coach and this type of tooling for individuals to be able to build these skills as well.
100%. So for us, like, it's really about like, hey, we know companies are going through this transition. Like, our goal is to help members and customers navigate this change. And I would say there's two main buckets. One is giving you all the education you need. We have north of 1,700 AI courses on the platform, but also the AI kind of coaching you can do on every topic. You can go deep on every topic. You can also do soft skills AI coaching on the platform as well. If we're seeing quarter over quarter 2x kind of growth there, so it's doing really well, and you see the need from people. So, for example, we look at how many folks add like the skills added on people's profiles. People want to emphasize new skills they have. It's been increasing at 140% year over year. Kind of really shows people's needs to show that they have new skills, they've learned new skills, they've been part of this evolution of kind of sharpening their expertise. And then on the products and services standpoint, we offer companies tools. So if you're a job seeker, we offer you kind of the job seeker companion you can use there, right? Everything from AI job search to job match to going deep on how to do interview prep. If you're a recruiter, we give you the recruiter ability to do an agent, when you can go everything from a project setup all the way to message, sourcing, and then screening and so on. Marketers, we do the same thing with helping you. You know, when you come to LinkedIn and you want to deploy millions of dollars in advertising campaigns, that's going to be very scary. So you want AI to tell you what's the best way to get the most out of your budget. And then same on the sales side with helping you really reach out to the right people. So it's both about the education, helping you get the soft skills and the hard skills, as well as the tools you can use in your kind of daily job to do this really, really well.
Before we move on, a quick message from our friends and partners at Vanta. Startups move fast, and with AI, they're shipping even faster. That means startups are attracting enterprise buyers even earlier, and the right kind of security can make a deal or break it. Vanta's AI and automation make it easy to meet buyer expectations in just days. Their technology continuously monitors your compliance so your deals are never blocked. With AI changing regulations, Vanta knows what's needed and when, and they've built the fastest and easiest path to get you there. Listeners of our show get a special $1,000 discount when they sign up. Just go to vanta.com/superhuman. That's VANTA.com/superhuman.
And Tomer, like, you've had an amazing career at LinkedIn. You joined in 2012 to lead mobile ads, and today you are the chief product officer at the company. And from your perspective, like, what are the things you would kind of look back and like you do the similarly, like again, in this new AI age of like product management? And what are things you would have done differently? So like, if a new PM is starting on this career, how should they think about this?
Yeah, so this is near and dear to my heart. So I've been, I think I was probably the first AI PM at LinkedIn. I was a startup founder before I joined the company, and before that, I was an engineer for many, many years. LinkedIn was my first kind of product management job. It was a title I was given when I came in, but really, ultimately, for me, it's about building. And in 2014, 15, I led our consumer feed initiatives, really rebuilding, focusing on how do we start building a great marketplace for knowledge sharing and expertise, and what you both are doing right now. And I became the first AI product manager for it. And we kind of brought the whole team together to focus on it, and including the AI team, which was basically centralized at that point, but we brought up to be like one feed team, everything from the presentation layer to kind of the AI, even infrastructure to an extent. And after that experience, I felt like there was a tremendous need, well ahead of this new era of AI we're talking about right now. I've been teaching AI for product leaders for almost a decade right now. And there was three principles I really emphasized with builders in general. The first one is really getting very specific and focused on the objective of what you're trying to do. I think with AI, there's a little bit of a lack of understanding, at least on the maybe the PM side of I can define what is it that you're trying to do as a product, and that will actually dictate success or failure. But it's a very nuanced way to think about it. So I usually say, like, you have to think fast and slow about what you're trying to do. The fast side is, ultimately, if I'm building the feed, I want to see engagement between people, right? People are talking with each other. But done incorrectly, that can lead to a lot of spam and clickbaits and engagement bait. So thinking slow about what could happen, you can lead to filter bubbles as an example. So that's the kind of, if your algorithm is successful in your objective, what could go wrong? So we spend a lot of time thinking about what is the objective of the model? What is the objective of the algorithm? The second part, and this was pretty hard, I would say, for many. It's for many PMs early on. I think now everybody understands it, but when I was starting to talk about it, it was hard for folks to grasp. Which is, you don't control the experience anymore, right? AI is non-deterministic. So if before, as a PM, you're like, I want it to look like this, or you designer, I want the button to look exactly like this, and when you click, this happens exactly, and the response is the following. If it didn't work this way, it was a bug. But now it's by definition non-deterministic. It will take time to sharpen. It will make mistakes, and now everybody calls it like as the new PM tool, which is evals. But evals existed a long time in the past. Now it became more of a term that everybody's using.
Yeah, it's like it's QA to some extent, right?
Yeah, but you're sharpening, like
Yeah.
the idea is this is non-deterministic. So you need to be able to do a feedback loop with this thing and really think about the rubrics you want to have and the objective. And
Yes.
and it's a little bit of a new term right now, but there's nothing new about it to an extent. And then lastly, and this is again, I think if you ask many PMs, how do you think about collecting the right data or fine-tuning your model? I think 2 years ago, they'll say, what? Like they won't even think about this. And I think now there's an understanding that this is just how you build a better product. But those three principles I had was, the same ones I had a decade ago, where I was teaching and really embedding in my teams and how we build great products.
And I was kind of like looking into like LinkedIn's product org. I learned about this full stack builder initiative you have started, which I thought was really amazing. This design process, coding and spec all merged into one. Love to hear more about that. Like as a product person, worked at Snowflake, has built companies like this. To me was amazing. Like, yeah, this sounds a great organization culture and like how you structured it.
Yeah, so this is something I'm extremely excited about. Maybe I'll share a bit of the context. So, when you think about what's happening right now, we're entering this era where, change is happening faster than we're able to respond to it. Like in mathematical terms, the time constant of change is far greater than the time constant of response. And that basically kind of forces a new best practice to be evolving, or it forces us to go back to the drawing board in how we build. And for me, I'm sure for all of us here, technology has been a lot about empowerment, right? We're able to do things which are just remarkable. Think about our parents and what they were able to do, and what we can do in matters of seconds and minutes, something they couldn't even think about or dream about. And now if you're a builder, I think there's this incredible time where it really becomes about meritocracy, right? If you're a builder and you have a great idea, the ability to take it to market is just unbelievable. And where the challenge begins is if you're a new startup right now, you just start from scratch. You have no legacy stack, no legacy organization, no legacy culture, and you start off this kind of journey you have with just building full stack, right? You bring people who can extend across all disciplines. You build with that rapid pace. But if you're an established company, you have an established stack, an established org, an established practice, an established culture, and then you kind of want to transform that into becoming more of a full stack builder culture. And that process today, I think we all know is somewhat broken. I don't know one product builder or an established company who's not pushing for going faster than they are right now. But when you look at like why are we not going as fast as we want or building with more high quality with speed as we want, it's actually quite simple. The process of building, which was all about how do I take an insight and I bring it to life, that process became very complex very quickly, right? We added so many sub-steps. For example, when we take a product to life, we do a lot of reviews. We do product reviews, design reviews, trust reviews, regulation reviews, privacy reviews, security reviews. It's exhausting for both sides. And but in many ways, those were added because in the past we learned there's a better way to build with higher quality and fidelity. But when you start adding up the entire process, what you find it's a very complex kind of value chain. So that's why for many companies, when you look at like what does it take to build a small feature, it probably takes multiple weeks, multiple teams, multiple code bases to bring up to life. And that doesn't end there because for every one of those tasks, you have a person who is responsible for that task. So then you also have organizational complexity. It's no longer about just about builders. For every function, you have some function and sub functions and people who are kind of specializing in every part of that complex value chain we build. So then you have this kind of realization that, wow, we built a really complex process that led to a really complex organization. And of course, we can build great products with the speed we want. In many ways, the full stack builder collapses that stack. It goes back to craftsmanship and says, hey, at the end of the day, what we want to enable is we enable great builders to take their idea to life in the matter of ideally minutes and hours, going through the entire stack. They'll be more generalized in skill set. They'll be able to use everything from speccing tools to research tools to design tools to basically coding tools. But that already happens today. I'm sure all of us are pushing code on a regular basis at home, at least. So the idea of prototyping, moving quickly, is tremendous, and we've basically started to do this at LinkedIn.
No, I think that's like an ideal environment, I think, for a lot of builders, especially folks when they go to startups, like for someone like me. When I worked at Snowflake, as we went from pre-IPO to post-IPO, one of the biggest change was how much of that complexity makes it harder to ship things fast. And you really crave for that craftsmanship of the 0 to 1 speed and the ability to ship things fast. Seems like you found a really interesting intersection where you're able to move at velocity, attract great talent, and really build something meaningful pretty fast, which is amazing.
Yeah, I think we used to say hey, if you want speed, trade off quality or trade off, scale, and now I don't think you have to trade off anything. I think you can get, for me, the ultimate formula of success is, if you're able to have impact through scale, speed, and quality, and if you have all three, you have a pretty amazing product, and you don't have to compromise on that anymore.
I want to switch gears a little bit towards AI and content creation. It seems like, AI is having a huge impact for, both content creators and content creation. Everything from finding ideas to, drafting to editing to generating images. Now with, models like GPT-4o and 5, you can even generate full kind of graphics with a lot of kind of knowledge compressed into those as well. Where do you stand on this? Do you think AI is going to be a positive influence on content creation, or do you lean a little bit more towards the critics who say that we should probably try to limit how much AI is getting used to create content?
Yeah, my stance is, if done authentically, it's an incredible professional boost. I think with any kind of technology, it could be used in both positive ways and negative ways, and if you do this in a positive way, it's an incredible professional boost. I talked about the ability for you to, it's hard to kind of overstate how many professionals have a really hard time writing a paragraph about themselves in an articulate way on their profile. And really, why not enable this with AI? Why? Because they have all the entire resume. Why not enable them to start with a draft instead of starting with kind of a blank slate? Yeah, on LinkedIn, which is kind of classic, you have people of all disciplines and geographies and languages. And if I'm a scientist and I have a very complex idea, and how do I kind of make it more articulate, that more people would be able to understand it? Yeah, it could be an incredible tool for that, or even translate that. So it sounds, almost like in native tongue versus sounds like clunky in somebody else's language. I see those as incredible, incredible tools. I think when people, and obviously we see this like any other platform, and people don't share authentically, or I don't think it actually resonates so well. It doesn't perform as well. And people actually, if anything, we've learned over the course of video uploads and kind of the video marketplace, is that when you share authentically, and in fact, it's okay if you're not, as polished. It's actually better if you're not polished and you're just come across on camera. You do better. You do a lot better. One of the trends we have right now is like CEOs and execs earning on LinkedIn. They're earning calls. And then one of my favorite example is the CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek, who's literally like, we'll take his phone and we'll do this and just, with a t-shirt, just talk about, for 5 minutes about what he's excited about. And it's not polished and it's great and it performs extremely well.
We were seeing this ecosystem, kind of build up around LinkedIn as well, with all these different AI content creation tools to help content creators as well. There's stuff, like you said, that's kind of helps authentic creation. There's stuff that doesn't help authentic creation. I think we've all seen something along those. Are there any strongly held views on that ecosystem or any insights that you'd like to share with us?
I think our members come to LinkedIn, like if I were to advise whether it's members or people who are building part of the ecosystem, and I think a healthy ecosystem have people who add more value to it. Ultimately, people come to LinkedIn to have authentic conversations with real people. We emphasize, real people tremendously. So for us, we rolled out verification not a long time ago, and now it's like 90 million people are actually verified, so you can trust that this person is real.
Yeah.
But not just being real people, but also real conversations. As long as that ecosystem is aligned with our community guidelines and really pushes for that goal, I think not only is it great, also I think they'll do well as well. So that's kind of like a great win-win. When it starts to be more on the kind of non-constructive, not productive side, then I don't think they do well. It's more of short-term gain, and then usually they end up stopping anyway. And we have strong controls as well there, with everything member controls to AI controls, to make sure that the content that really is within line of our community guidelines actually performs really, really well.
Yeah. We've sort of, I'm a creator. I've been thinking about this a lot. I've sort of not been. It's been okay, like using some of the AI tools that have been built around this, but a lot of it just feels like a ChatGPT wrapper, if I'm being completely honest. Like, doesn't really feel like it's adding much to the experience. So one of the things we've been working on internally is, how do you build something that actually sounds authentic? And we found, at least, what we were really excited about is, when you have a back and forth conversation, and the LLM helps you turn that into an insight, we found that to be very powerful, instead of just being like, here's an idea, go just churn out some content that I can go copy paste on LinkedIn. So I think, that's, where we've recently been working on an sort of like a like an audio agent. So basically, it starts as a conversation. The agent basically asks you, hey, what do you want to talk about? You say, I want to talk about, handling difficult conversations at work. And it asks you a bunch of questions, how you feel about things, if you had any experiences. And then based on that, it generates a bunch of ideas where you can sort of, then turn that into like a longer post and do that. We'd obviously, maybe, since you are literally the chief product officer of LinkedIn, would obviously love to show you that at some point as well. But Hassan, over to you. Any sort of, kind of final wrapping up questions that you'd like to do before we end the conversation?
I think, Tomer, like one thing I'd be very curious to know is that, like, you obviously have, like, LinkedIn serves so many different stakeholders as well. How do you kind of like think about prioritizing as a chief product officer? I'm sure like a lot of people who are running recruiter focused things, folks who are running creator focused things, enterprise, consumers, all these different product teams have different priorities. From your perspective, sitting at the top, like, how do you kind of think about prioritizing? Like, how do you say, like, hey, we should do these 3 things really well this 6 months? Like, what's that methodology you use?
Yeah, it's a great point, because it's not something that is necessarily we just set it up and it works. You kind of always have to work on it. I would say the good part of what already works at LinkedIn really, really well is the foundational piece of the culture and the vision. So I think this goes back to when I joined LinkedIn with our former CEO, Jeff Winner, and he pushed a lot on really the kind of the vision of why we exist. And sometimes I tell people, come walk the hallways of LinkedIn and ask people, why are you here? And I think most likely than not, you'll get an answer that is tied to our vision. And I think that's really powerful. So I think people really understand that this is a purpose-driven culture. So when we build, most of the time, people will talk about, like, how is this helping people? or what is the economic opportunity we're trying to get. Now, what does that actually leads to is we kind of are able to find a kind of a common goal. So instead of saying, oh, there's the feed team and the profile team and the jobs team, and there is the learning team, and like we have a lot of those teams, and then everybody has their own metric or their own goal. We're kind of trying to coalesce everything to like, are you actually driving economic opportunity? So that's something we do really rapidly and really well. And more often than not, we would evaluate the direction of what we build against that. In many ways, we took multiple trade-offs in the past to not go for empty growth or kind of quick growth, but really kind of focus on the things that really, really matter. When it comes to prioritization, we start every year with where we think the biggest opportunities for us will be in the future. We kind of lay out more of a 3 to 5 year horizon, and there's a part of the year that is only dedicated to those strategic bets. And then obviously there's some interesting stuff we're testing around along the way. But we start with strong clarity from the front around what are the key initiatives, key areas we're investing in, with the goal of just making sure we put all the kind of power versus a few objective versus like one objective. But at the end of the day, if you kind of walk the hallways of LinkedIn, you can literally ask like, what value we generated from members, and that should be crisp and not talk to you in like mini metrics or, more team specific metrics, but rather like more organizational or member value metrics or kind of customer value metrics as well.
So really having like a broad enough metric which kind of like hits the core value LinkedIn is providing to its members. That makes
and for me, it's like it's that mission, right? So like it starts with the purpose, and that purpose has kind of a definition to it and a qualitative metric for that. And then you kind of start making your way down to all the teams. But I should be able to connect everybody's job to not only an output metric that we coalesce against, but also towards a marketplace value metric. So we talked about the objective with AI before. So if I were to just, teams would, let's take the job marketplace. If people were just basically saying, I just want to drive job views on the platform, that's an easier metric to drive than necessarily job applies, because people have to like apply for a job. But that's also an easier metric to drive than high quality applies, where the recruiter will say, this is a good application. And then that's also easier to drive than actual hires, because ultimately you are hiring one person for that job. So the more you focus on the ultimate marketplace value metric, the more you're pushing towards that purpose and towards that vision. That obviously took us many, many cycles, and we're always sharpening our ability there. But that drives the organization culturally towards the end state everybody's aware of.
That makes sense. So Tomer, like to kind of like move towards the wrap up of the conversation, we love these like very quick fire round questions. You can take 10 to 20 seconds to answer them. And they're just like some fun questions to summarize the conversation as well, but also get like, some insights from you in a rapid way. So your favorite AI feature on LinkedIn for content creation?
I think for content creation, what we're seeing great results, and I think many are doing this when it comes to messaging. It's extremely powerful. Like, recruiters who use our AI-powered messaging are seeing 40% more accept rate, people actually responding back. And they're also seeing people respond, 11% faster, which means it's not just a good message, it creates some kind of sense of urgency on the other side to respond. Yeah. And I think and the reason it's so good, it's not because AI can write, it's because we take the entire journey of that job, like why is it valuable to the potential candidate, how the recruiter likes to write, and obviously it's fine-tuned on their style. And then not only it creates value for the recruiter because they're able to go through the process really, really well. On the candidate side, when they get that request or that ping, it resonates highly. So I think this goes to show it's not just about the writing, it's not about the ability to kind of generate. It's really about personalizing that ability so it resonates tremendously with both sides of the marketplace.
3 things every PM should be doing daily.
Yeah, so I love working with PMs and in builders in general who are the intersection of dreaming, building, and learning. So if you every day dream about what you can do better and build better, that's amazing. But you're not just dreaming about it, you're making your progress towards that so you can show progress. And at the same time, you'll learn something new every day. For me, that's my sweet spot of people I love to work with.
Amazing. A recent advice or discussion that you found really insightful?
This is a recent one from last week. I was just having a conversation with a good friend. We talked about perspective taking, and I kind of ended up with this kind of conclusion that it was, in a way, it's I think it's clear, but I think it's very powerful when you actually when you use it on a daily basis, which is be thoughtful about what your reference point is for yourself. So we can all be very happy if we choose our reference points really well. We can be miserable. We can be more ambitious. We can be less ambitious. So the idea that your reference point is an incredible mental tool that can be used for you to do well is very powerful. And I think we all potentially understand it inherently, but we don't always do it.
No, I think that is actually a great point. And the last question, maybe the AI tool you use beside LinkedIn, which you use daily.
I don't think I'm going to be surprising here, but like ChatGPT. So I've been using ChatGPT early ever since I saw it in the fall of 2022. I saw GPT-4 when Sam and Greg came to demonstrate it to all of us. My main use case is, and it's been very similar for a long time, when I commute to work, I open it up and we talk about all the things that goes to mind for me, from areas, companies I'm interested in, things I want to learn about. Like, it's an incredible learning tool for me. That commute conversational piece has been an incredible tool for learning. So that's been probably one of my biggest use cases.
That's amazing. I think a lot of people will concur on that. So I really appreciate you taking the time for this conversation. I think this is a great way to wrap it up. I know you have a hard stop, so thank you again for taking the time. And I think we're very excited for this conversation to be published, and I'm sure our readers will love it.